Bill was on the side of the road hitchhiking on a very dark night in the midst of a fierce rainstorm. The night was rolling on, and no car went by. The storm was so strong that he could hardly see a few meters ahead of him. Suddenly, through the swirling rain, Bill saw a car slowly coming towards him. And as it drew level with him, it stopped. Desperate for shelter, and without really thinking about what he was doing, Bill got into the back seat of the car and closed the door. That was when he realized there was nobody behind the wheel, and the engine wasn't even on. Mysteriously and soundlessly, the car started moving slowly forward. Bill looked at the road and saw a curve approaching. Now he was scared, and he began to fear for his life. But just before he reached the curve, a ghostly hand appeared through the window of the car and turned the steering wheel. Bill, paralyzed with terror, watched how the hand appeared every time they came to a curve. When he saw the lights of a pub down the road, Bill gathered all his bravery and strength, jumped out of the car, and ran to the pub. Wet and out of breath, he rushed inside and asked for 2 shots of scotch. Shaking and half crying, he began telling everybody about the horrible experience he had just been through. A silence enveloped everybody when they realized he was not drunk, but was for real. About 10 minutes later, 2 guys walked into the same pub. They were all so wet, and were out of breath. Looking around and seeing Bill sobbing at the bar, one said to the other, "Hey Bruce, that's the idiot who got in the car while we were pushing it." A drunken, totally jumped into a taxi at Park Beach Plaza in Coffs Harbour. The Indian driver shook his head, opened his eyes wide, and stared at the woman. He made no attempt to start the cab. "What are you staring at, love? Haven't you ever seen a woman with no clothes on before?" "I'll not be staring at you, lady, I am telling you, that would not be proper, where I am coming from." "Well, if you're not bloody staring at me, Ludi, what are you doing then?" "Well, I am looking and looking, and I am thinking and thinking to myself, where is this lady keeping the money to be paying me?" A woman buys a wardrobe for her bedroom. After it is installed, all is well until the train passes on the nearby track and the wardrobe falls down. She calls a technician to check it out. He proceeds to secure it with some supports, but when the train passes it again falls down. Surprised but determined, the technician again installs more supports and enters the wardrobe to feel what's causing it to fall. At that time, the jealous husband enters the home early and starts searching the house for signs of another man. He opens the wardrobe, sees the technician and asks, "What are you doing here?" The technician replies, "Would you believe me if I told you I'm waiting for the train?"